So, Doctor, I'm sorry. I'm going to stop you. I think part of it is that you're saying so much and your voice is fine, and then it drops, and it's fine. And then
This isn't his fucking problem. Get this lady with the trunk who's huffing shit off her phone, and maybe she can hear this man. We could all hear him.
Get off the phone, trunk woman. Get off the phone.
Lawrenceville, Georgia. A man calls 911 and says his friend was just struck by a car. First responders find the man outside an apartment complex, bleeding from the head. They rush into the ER and stabilize him. 2 days later.
This happened Friday evening, 8 to 10ish. The victim. He goes to the hospital. He's transported to the hospital. And in the meantime, I get the call today that he has since passed away. From the hospital personnel, it's all in the head. It looks like blunt force trauma to the head, fractured skull, blown out orbital.
No injuries on his person below the neck. It is not a car accident.
We could all hear him. Bev, not all of us have a mic implanted in our fucking mouth, Bev.
My understanding is that Karen Reed's blood was drawn at around 9 a.m. the night after all of this happened, which allegedly happened around 12:45. So I believe her blood draw, which was a hospital draw, which has a lot of problems, but that was done at around 9 a.m. And I believe her BAC was 0.07, 0.08, which is around the legal limit in most states. Retrograde extrapolation is taking a BAC at a known time and using facts and information generally provided by the person who's alleged to be intoxicated to figure out what your BAC was at an earlier point in time. And in order to retrograde extrapolate what your BAC was at that earlier time, there's pieces of information that need to be known. You need to know the BAC at the time of the draw. You need to know the alleged time of the last drink. Use a standard elimination rate, which has all kinds of questions. You would need to know the gender, the weight, the type of alcohol that was alleged to have been drank, the food, the timing of the food. All of these things go into play. I think you can understand why retrograde extrapolation is probably a bit of a junk science, given all of the variables that are taken into account. But in all my years of prosecuting DWIs, which I did for years and years and years, and I still represent people charged with DWI, I have never seen anybody attempt to use retrograde extrapolation for a time that was like 8 hours earlier. Why? Because that's crazy. There are so many things that could happen between the alleged time, the time that you were trying to figure out the BAC and the time that you know the BAC. There are a million things that could impact what that score looks like. It's just crazy to me. I've never seen a retrograde that way.
I can hear this guy fine, Jake. Are you having a problem hearing Dr. Feelgood here?
No, I can hear him fine.
He's clear as day. What is going on with Dr. Bev? Like, she is hating on good old Dr. Feelgood and Feller falling from the bamboo.
There's a logical, a file system, and a physical, and they're a little confusing, so I'll try to just explain it in layman's terms. A logical examination is where the software, so in this case the Cellebrite software, kind of has a conversation with the phone, and it asks the phone to provide certain information to the user. So it's kind of like a nice talk back and forth, where it asks maybe a phone for its text messages, and the phone provides its text messages back to the software where we can look at them. The step up from that is a file system, and that's where the software, in this case Cellebrite, goes through and actually pulls the entire file system off the phone. So if you think about when you go on your computer and you go into Windows and you click through all your different folders where you save your songs or your documents, it's basically taking all those documents, all those folders, and putting it in a place where we can look at it and use it. The last certification, which is the physical analyst, is the process where the software actually goes onto the phone and it just rips that information off and copies it. So it's not really talking to or being nice with the phone anymore. It's saying, I want an exact copy of everything you have on that phone. And that's what we call when we say it's a physical as opposed to logical. And those are the two classes they teach.
And sir, I think you may have already touched upon this, but you're certified in all three of those methods with Cellebrite. In other words, the logical, which gets you the least amount of information, the file system, which is somewhere in between, and then the most expansive extraction of information being the physical. You're certified in all three.
Exactly, and that's a fair explanation of the three, yes.
She's giving this
Hands
guy
off, please.
good shit.
Such a hard. Of all the witnesses so far, this man is getting her wrath, and he's I can hear him.
Out of all the nose
important
breathers
that
that
all
they've
the
had on the
jurors hear it.
stand, this is the guy she's going to give the shit to. Breathing through their noses.
This is the guy.
What's happening, Jay?
Go fucking please before I hit the shit, before I run your shit, before I fucking chug a beer and hit that shit.
Yeah, but speak into the microphone.
I'm gonna bring it really. Bev, the man is talking into the fucking microphone. Have you lost your mind?
Dad, tell them the guy never went inside the house. Game over. Because Brian Albert, a cop, is definitely gonna conduct a cover-up in a group chat on a cell phone. Furthermore, it's completely normal to report the facts of the case to the news. Even John O'Keefe's girlfriend was saying he didn't go inside the house at the time. Grasping for straws here. Ally McCabe lied. 360 data shows that she lied. But they didn't try to dispute the trip from 34 Fairview to Colin Albert's house back to her house. They were trying to say she took trips later that night, and she says she didn't.
I'm sorry. Poor man with threats of fans being turned off and everyone in the courtroom sweating profusely.
Sir, you have no one to blame but yourself! Speak up, sir! Speak into the mic! I can't say it any other way! Looks like Karen Reed's dreams of freedom have just been shattered by a taillight.
Those pieces of taillight were placed there after the
The
fact.
Commonwealth is debunking her lies. Taillight fragment by taillight fragment. Piece by piece.
Jesus
like, seriously, she's like, listen, Jerry, you are fucked if this man who is talking into the mic can't do it any better. You're all going to sweat your ass for the next 3 hours because fucking I can't hear him.
Now I feel great pain for this poor pathologist. I mean, this guy's just trying to come here, kick some knowledge, and, you know, he's getting flamed. Like an absolute flamethrowing by Judge Bev. Like she...
But that's not how power works, and that's what I think people might be missing in this. There are, being very general here, there are clearly power dynamics at play here that are way bigger than Lindsay Catani, me, you, or anyone else involved in this. Like we are just like being like played. We're not being played, but like there are people involved in all of this. And we are just kind of like the front, like facing apparatus that people talk about. And I don't know, it's not like there are people involved telling us anything, because I am completely confused. I'm trying to figure all of this out, but I can just sense it. You can just, like, Alan Jackson is here. Like there are clearly powers that be involved. Like the feds were involved in this, Levy and Karen Reed, and there is this story. You all who are watching this right now, you are like the people who discover like something before it goes like very, very big. Because when this story is told, it is going, like, forget a modern Watergate. This is like the most ridiculous thing that I have ever seen in my career. I have covered a lot of corruption. I've covered a lot of nonsense. I have never seen anything like what the Karen Reed PR apparatus turned into. And I've never seen something have that many tentacles in so many different places. The only way this can happen is when you're talking, forget about money. Anyone can make money and have connections.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm going to instruct you. If I have to turn off the fan, I expect you to place all blame on the man in the suit on the stand. That's it. Proceed.
The only way this stuff can happen is when you're talking people who have like learned skills in like high level mass psychology, like public manipulation, public relations. And then to top it all off, you have this bullshit like blackmail stuff, which you only see in the fucking intelligence community. It is some fucking crazy shit. And the people who tell this story, forget a modern Black Mass or a modern All the President's Men from Watergate. This is going to be its own thing. And I promise you, all the people, it's interesting actually how it backfired. All the people who thought they were going to suppress this information have now like put Lindsay on the center stage. Why? And if enough people ask questions, they're going to find out why. And that puts the whole Karen Reed person situation together. It explains what Karen was doing in the pretrial process. This is the story of the past 25 years. And it's going to be told, and it's not going to be told from the perspective of people talking about a fucking dog bite and some other bullshit. It's going to be this crazy shit that happened. And you all are here seeing an early preview. And I assure you, Lindsay's at the center of it, which is why she's being fucking tormented, because inadvertently or otherwise, by a mistake or happy accident of history, as Bob Ross would say, Lindsay's canvas that she painted took down a fucking multi-million-dollar PR apparatus surrounding a very well-connected former professor. So that's really what I think this is all about.
Objection.
That's hot. I'm hot too.